My colleague Kadri Inzamam and I spent months reporting in the state of Maharashtra in Western India on one of the world's most common commodities, sugar. It's no surprise that cutting sugarcane is incredibly difficult work, but what we uncovered goes well beyond that. We found that this is a system that impacts every aspect of a person's life, especially for women. Companies like Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are buying sugar from Maharashtra, where the labor system exploits women and pushes them to get unnecessary hysterectomies as a way to keep them working in the fields. In Maharashtra, usually sugarcane is cut in teams of two, and it's almost always a married couple. And what ends up happening is that these girls that are born into sugarcane cutting families, they often can't really afford to keep bringing them along. So you have child marriage actually being encouraged in some ways because of the way that sugar is cut. For sugarcane workers, typically what happens is they take on an advance at the beginning of the season from a contractor who works for a sugar mill. They'll take on debt through this advance system and they'll end up going back year after year after year. The pay for sugarcane workers is so low that during the season, missing even a day of work can really, really amp up your debt and cut into your sense of security. These laborers literally cannot afford to miss any work. So think about that in the context of something like routine healthcare when they do need to see a doctor. Not only do they miss that day's wages, they actually have to pay the money back to the contractor. And then on top of that come the medical fees and the fees for transportation. That's why a lot of women opt for something like a hysterectomy, which they see as this kind of last-ditch solution. And doctors are sort of incentivized to recommend the surgery, even in cases where it's not necessarily needed. So what ends up happening is that a lot of these women end up with really serious problems that can't be treated later. I've reported on supply chains for years, and it still blows my mind that it's so difficult for consumers to know what goes into making the products they buy. Who would have ever thought that this level of brutality could exist in something as simple as, a can of soda?